Morning, Senator Runestad. Could you please introduce your guest with us today and give us a little background of the bill once you've introduced your guest?
Absolutely. I have with me here today Dennis Doherty of the Wayne County's Prosecutor's Office, and also Carla Menendez of the U.S. Postal Inspector's Service.
Thank you. Could you give us a background briefly about the bills and what they do?
I will. Basically, mail theft in Michigan is skyrocketing and is largely unimpeded across the state. And we've seen in news, the crooks are contemplating quick cash and will pilfer mail order drugs, packages, and checks. Stealing mail is not the same as stealing other property. The contents may disclose personal information or financial information which can be easily exploited. Most residents have no way to lock up a mailbox, to padlock their porch, so the laws and penalties are the chief protection for the Social Security checks and mail order prescription drugs. While mail theft is a federal crime, it is rarely prosecuted, which we'll hear about more today from the Wayne County's Prosecutor's Office. Roadside mailboxes and front porches are targets that offer criminals little risk of serving time. And this opportunity for painless profit is increasingly being exploited. Moreover, while package theft may be prosecuted under larceny statute in many cases, there is no ability under state law to prosecute the theft of letters, credit cards, personal financial information, or checks. A check that has not been cashed has no value, and thus law enforcement can't prosecute. Mail order is often not reported. When someone suspects that a credit card was not received, they may call and cancel the card, but rarely report it. Statewide, last year there were approximately 17,000 complaints of Amazon packages that were not received. 2,000 complaints of non-receipt of general mail, such as credit cards, 400 complaints of check theft, and almost 200 complaints of prescription mail order theft. Again, mail theft goes often unreported, but when it is reported, we begin to see that complaints are often grouped in specific areas. The growing number of complaints of mail order prescription theft is alarming. 1/3 of all prescription theft reports statewide are taking place in Oakland County. The federal government can't go after every instance of mail theft, but when petty theft complaints are localized in a specific area, the local law enforcement can investigate but needs tools to intervene. These bills provide for a misdemeanor charge for a first offense. However, if intent to defraud is proven and for a second offense, the charge can rise to a 5-year felony. I want to thank Chair Lucido for his sponsorship of the package with me and to encourage the committee to support these new tools for law enforcement for Michigan. I also want to thank Sheriff Bouchard for his office's involvement and support of the bill. And now I'd like to turn over, unless there's additional questions for me, I turn over to Dennis Doherty for further testimony.
Mr. Doherty, do you have anything? I know you offered a card and said that you're here on behalf of the Prosecutors Association and Wayne County Prosecutor's Office. Is there anything you could add other than the fact that we need this law?
No, we do. Good morning, first of all, and thank you, committee members, for
I want to disclose that we were classmates.
Yeah. And the first thing he said to me when he saw me was, "God, you got old." But thank you, Chairman Lucido. And thank you, Senator Runestad and Chairman Lucido, for endorsing this bill and sponsoring this bill. One of the things I get asked the most is, well, isn't there a federal mail theft statute? Yeah, there is. But I'm going to leave this more to Inspector Menendez. What happens is the U.S. Attorney's Office has a very high threshold before they will accept a case. And that's how I met Inspector Menendez years ago, because if the U.S. Attorney wouldn't take the case because it didn't meet their threshold, they would bring it to the county for prosecution. Now, Inspector Menendez is going to give you some actual case examples, but one of my favorite examples, or best examples, is there was a postal carrier that was throwing away the mail because he didn't want to deliver it. Well, U.S. Attorney's Office didn't want it because there was no proven financial loss that would meet their threshold. we didn't have a threat, we didn't have a statute to prosecute them. And it's almost hard to believe.
It is amazing that the federal government wouldn't have implemented a crime for having a job so sacred as our postal service to not prosecute, isn't it?
It is, it is. And the good thing about this bill, too, is that it not only applies to the U.S. Postal Service, it applies to any private carrier as well, like FedEx, UPS, whatever.
So at this time, Ms. Menendez, your turn.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Carla Menendez. I'm with the United States Postal Inspection Service. We're the federal law enforcement part of the post office, and we handle anything external that touches the mail, specifically mail theft, assaults on carriers, stuff like that. I just want to thank everyone, first off, Chairman for bringing this, and Senator Runestad for supporting the bill. Just some updated stats, just to show you how important this is. This is between October of 18 and a couple days ago. And keep in mind, these are only reported to the Postal Inspection Service. Amazon packages, we've had over 5,000 packages stolen already this year. Checks stolen out of the mail, about 140. Half of those have been cashed, and people are actually victims of losing their money. Prescription medication, 63 have been reported already, and over half of those are from the Veterans Administration, going to veterans. And then credit cards not received and used out of the mail, almost 300. Just to give you a little example of the different types of mail thieves, there's basically two types of mail thieves. First type is going to be the drug user, the unemployed, somebody who's looking for quick money. They're looking for gift cards out of the mail, checks out of the mail that they can go cash, possibly grandmother sending cash through the mail. They're looking for something quick that they can go and get whatever they need with the money that they steal out of the mail. The second one is going to be the career criminals that actually steal enough mail to obtain personal identification information from the residents, open accounts, buy cars. They can do many, many things with all the information that they get from the mail. I'm going to give you some cases that I've actually worked that are pretty interesting. The first, I'm going to talk about the quick cash. 2016, I worked a case in Macomb County. There's a row of businesses on the same street, Saturday mail. They don't pick up on Saturday, obviously, they're not working. So that's when the mail thieves come out and they steal the mail, the incoming mail to that business, which usually involves checks for payment for whatever service that business provides. So they have the ringleader who sends out his, we call them the mules, to go steal the mail, and then they send these mules to the banks to cash the checks. And then the mule gets, $200 for whatever they do, and then they give the rest to the ringleader. I actually caught 5 of them on this one case. They were all prosecuted in Macomb County, and they all received a year probation. Granted, they were charged with identity theft or uttering and publishing through the state, which is the cashing of the check. They weren't charged with the mail theft, as that's a larceny and a misdemeanor. The next case, this was the most egregious, I think, in my mind. In 2013, West Bloomfield, higher income neighborhoods, there was a husband and wife team that decided that they were going to go out and steal mail from people's mailboxes. Overnight, they had multiple people calling the police saying, hey, there's these 2 people stealing mail out of the mailboxes. Cops came and pulled them over. They had over 750 pieces of mail not belonging to them inside the vehicle at the time. Because mail theft is considered larceny and a misdemeanor, the officer was kind of, oh, what should I do? This is a big case, but it's a misdemeanor. I don't really, I can hold him on a misdemeanor, but then I've got the car to take care of and all that stuff. But luckily, the driver had a suspended driver's license that he was driving on, so he was able to impound the vehicle and keep the husband and wife overnight. We did a subsequent search warrant of the house, As I said, these are gonna be the career criminal types of mail thieves. They had check paper that they were actually counterfeiting the checks that they stole out of the mail so they could cash. They had credit card machines that they were actually making machines off of the information that they got from the mail. Overall, the husband was sentenced to 9 months in prison, and the wife was sentenced to 6 months. But like I said, because we worked up the case, they weren't charged for the mail theft. They were charged for the additional fraud that they got from the mail. And finally, just this year in Oakland County, I had a career mail thief again who had been stealing mail from the higher income neighborhoods in Bloomfield Township, Bloomfield Hills, Orchard Park. He was going out, that's pretty much all he did. He stole mail. When we searched his residence that he was in, he had a notebook, which is common. He wrote down all the addresses he went to, and in some cases, he wrote, go back, need social security number, need date of birth, need maiden name. So they're looking for all the information that they need to open these accounts to further their mail theft scheme. So this is just to show you that it goes farther than just, I didn't receive my package or I didn't receive my bill. It can go much farther than that. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, we have a couple substitutes, but I probably want to go ahead and get those adopted if we can. Senator Runestad, would you speak on the substitutes that are being offered and why?
Basically, the substitutes reduce the penalty, looking for it here, from felony down to misdemeanor, and ups the penalties when the individual is, when they're found guilty of the act, they would be guilty of a misdemeanor punishable up to 1 year. That was a felony, up to $500 or both. A second violation is a felony punishable up to 5 years imprisonment with a fine of up to $1,000 or both. A third and subsequent violation are penalties punishable by up to 10 years imprisonment and a fine of $2,000 or both. And basically, we just heard a lot from a lot of stakeholders that they thought starting off with the felony was too harsh, and so we pulled back some of the penalties.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. And Ms. Menendez, I understand that uttering and publishing was the only thing that they could charge out in Macomb County because it was the actual act of taking and cashing the check, publishing it and cashing the check. Had we had this law on the book that was offered by Senator Runestad, we would have been able to add a second charge, is that correct?
Correct.
For purposes of theft,
Yeah.
taking something.
Yeah,
Federal government.
We have to get creative, essentially.
Well, we're
when
more
people
than
are stealing
creative. The
mail.
federal government already has a statute on their books, correct?
Correct.
Why won't they take these cases?
Honestly, if they took all the mail theft cases that came in, that's all they would do. And they don't have the resources, and as was discussed before, they have a very high threshold, and the attorney's office, U.S. Attorney's Office, is based on loss amount.
Does anybody have any idea what this is costing society, all of this theft? Does anybody have any idea? Any way to track it? Senator Barrett, do you have some way of tracking this? Does anybody have any idea what society's cost is, all of us that are paying for the thefts that are going on as a result of the stealing of these packages, which is mail, or these envelopes, which is mail, going outside of where they're supposed to be delivered?
Mr. Chair, I'm just an Army grunt, so I can't give you that information, I'm sorry. But
Thought maybe they had something in the military that taught you about theft. Does anybody have anything? Has a study been done on this, what the cost to society is?
I think it's just the cost of the victims that get their identities stolen. It takes a really long time to prove that you're actually yourself with the bank, to show that that you're not the mail thief that stole your information. We could get many victims, elderly victims, the veterans that are missing their medication that have to fight with the insurance company to pay for it again because it was stolen. It's those people that need a voice, essentially, in this case.
I hope this legislation gives them that voice. Do you think it will?
I hope so.
Good. Is there any other cards, Madam Clerk, that need to be read in at this time and/or individuals that wish to testify?
We have 2 cards to be read in for the record, Mr. Chairman. We have the Michigan State Police not wishing to speak in support of Senate Bill 23, and we have Brandon Layden from PAAM not wishing to speak in support of Senate Bill 23 and 24. Those are all of the cards.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll entertain a motion to adopt Senate Bill 23S1 at this time. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman Vanderwall. Madam Clerk, take the roll.
Chairman Lucido.
Yes.
Senator Vanderwall.
Yes.
Senator Barrett.
Yes.
Senator Johnson.
Yes.
Senator Runestad.
Yes.
Senator Chang. Senator Irwin. Mr. Chairman, on the motion to adopt the S1 version of Senate Bill 23, there are 7 yeas, 0 nays. The substitute is adopted.
Thank you. Yep, forgot to, we gotta get Ruth back here.
Oh.
Yeah. I got it. This is it. Yeah. Madam Clerk, at this time, I'm willing to take a motion on Senate Bill 24, the S1, so moved by Senator Barrett. Madam Clerk, take the roll.
Chairman Lucido.
Yes.
Senator Vanderwall.
Yes.
Senator Barrett. Senator Johnson.
Yes.
Senator Runestad.
Yes.
Senator Chang. Senator Irwin. Mr. Chairman, on the motion to adopt the S1 version of Senate Bill 24, there are 7 yeas, 0 nays. The substitute is adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.